Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us for our second planning meeting for Jane's Walk 2024 in Connecticut. I'm Jane Montanaro, Executive Director at Preservation Connecticut, and glad to have you all here this morning and interested in participating in this event. I have a few slides that I can put up to share with you to get the conversation started. Slideshow. You see that? All right, so Jane's Walk, Connecticut is Saturday, May 4th, 2024. And this is our logo that we've created for the event. As many of you know, Jane's Walk is a global movement of free citizen-led walking tours inspired by Jane Jacobs. The walks get people to tell stories about their communities, explore their cities, and connect with neighbors. So since we've last met, we've asked folks to go ahead and start submitting some of their ideas for walks. And these are some of the ideas that have come in so far. We're really excited to see these. The ideas so far are New Haven, Green, Heart of the City, Manchester, Community Conversation in the Historic District, Bridgeport and Fairfield, Olmsted Parks and World War I housing, a walk about downtown Bridgeport, Cedar Hill Cemetery in Hartford, art, history, and natural beauty, Stamford, Glenbrook, and the Phillips family, Wyndham Center Green, and Washington Park in Bridgeport. And a reminder that the submissions are all due to us by March 15th. So if you're still working on your ideas, please keep that deadline in mind. So we wanted to highlight one of these walk ideas for you to give you a little sense of what someone else is thinking about for a potential walk. My colleague, Chris Wiegren, is on the call. Chris, would you like to talk a little bit about this Jane's Walk idea?
Okay, I was asked to put together an idea. I'm not sure how this is going to work. I've never been to a Jane's Walk. But since I live in New Haven, I figured I would start with the New Haven Green, a wonderful place. It's one way to look at it is it's the only structure, and if you will, that survives from the origin of New Haven from the 17th century, this 9-square plan with the green at the center. And it's a place whose visual appearance has really not changed much since about 1820, when the three churches, the fences, the elm trees, the grass, and the paths had all been laid out. Details come, details go, but a visitor from the 19th century would instantly recognize where she was, landing in the middle of the green. Next slide. The green's most important function is as a meeting place. Informal meetings, day-to-day encounters where citizens from all levels and segments of society just meet each other, hopefully to get to know and understand each other a bit, and maybe thereby strengthening their commitment to the community and to the running of the community, their appreciation for each other. And it's also a political place where community activities, cultural activities happen, and where the people come to demonstrate, to express their will. So you've got a series of things from agricultural fairs to soldiers going off to war, to concerts, to Black Lives Matter, as well to just hanging out. So I'm thinking that a Jane's Walk around the green would go to different places on the green, maybe talk a little bit about its history. But then I've also been inspired by a series of tour guide questions that I got from the Providence Preservation Society in Rhode Island. And adapting those to the green, these questions are quick observation. What do you see? What's happening? Who's here? Second, how does the green feel to you? Maybe think of 3 words that describe the green's personality, such as comfortable or energetic. What do you see that might be historic? What do you see that's new? What kinds of street furniture or structures or items do you find on the green? What do they look like? What do they mean to you? And just why would someone come here? So I'll put those questions in the chat if anyone wants to use them as a sort of guideline as well. So that's my quick beginning to outline a possible talk and walk. So there you go.
Great, thank you, Chris.
Mhm.
And like Chris was alluding to, it's less of a walking tour and more of a conversation. So thinking when you're planning these, you don't have to think of them in terms of like your traditional walking tours, but think of how people in the community might want to share their experiences and their thoughts or information that they have about the community, and make sure that you keep it as a conversation as you go through your walk. So the next step, once you've identified your walk and told us about it and put it in on our website on the form, we want to talk about promotion and what Preservation Connecticut can do to help promote all of these walks, help happening simultaneously, and what you may do to promote them as well. So on our website, we'll be able to put together a nice interactive map. It'll show everything that's happening on May 4th for Jane's Walks. And they will, the pin dots will contain all of the information for each walk with the title and the description, photos of the area, and any pertinent links about the walk. So folks that are interested in doing these walks will be able to click on the map and see what's happening at preservationct.org, Jane's Walk, Connecticut. And then we've started to put together other ideas of how we can continue to do promotion. Folks can advertise through Connecticut Tourism website, advertise with suggested community contacts, social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We'll certainly be doing that on all of our channels at Preservation Connecticut, but would advise you to be sharing, promoting them on your own channels as well. And we'll also be putting together a media kit to share with everyone with this logo, text blurbs, and other information about how to get this Jane's Walk out to all the members of your community. So that beyond submitting your idea, what we'll also need from you to submit is who your walk title, your walk leader, and contact information for the walk leader, the starting point of your walk, the anticipated duration of your walk, and any terrain conditions that folks should be aware of ahead of time, like hills, stairs, and uneven surfaces. And any questions along the way, you can submit to Kristen Hopewood, who is helping coordinate all of this at khopewood@preservationc.org. So that's it for my quick little overview of what we wanted to talk about today. But I wanted to open it up to everyone. If you wanted to ask questions or share your walk idea or ask questions about, what's happening with the Jane's Walk or promoting or anything that we can help you with.
I'd just like to make a comment.
Go ahead, Charles.
I'm with Norwalk Preservation Trust, and we first heard about the Jane's Walk idea. We thought it would be a great kind of segue into a lot of the things that, and I know probably most or all of you know of Todd Bryan. He's been our faithful leader for many, many years. And we're, I said in our last board meeting, we thought this would be a good segue, and we hope to focus on the Sono area of Norwalk. There's a lot happening there and has been happening for many years, and there's changes and there's a lot of development pressure on our historic district there. So we just thought it was a great idea and a good opportunity to get the community there involved. And especially along the promotion lines, I thought this would be a great way to bring some new people into our organization, hopefully, as a result. I know there's a lot of people interested, and they just need a kind of a venue to get involved. And I think and hope that this tour, as we formulate it and put it together, will have that result for our organization and for preservation more generally throughout Connecticut.
Yes, absolutely. That's what we're hoping as well, that this is a nice community engagement tool to get people comfortable with their surroundings and their environment and talking about preservation, maybe in a way that's not specifically talking about preservation, but being more just user-friendly and, you know, connecting and growing our friend base. So Jean, you have your hand raised.
Yeah.
Hello.
I'm sorry, I missed the first meetings you have. I'm in Watertown, small town, you know, and I'm chair of the Historic District Commission here. We only have one historic district, and Watertown has this division between Watertown and Oakville, as often small towns do. You know, the historic district is in the sort of older part. But so when I saw this, I thought I'm going to talk to after this meeting. We have a history museum now, and they're very active. I'd like to try and find a way to walk around a little bit in the Oakville section of the town. There's the old pin shop is there. It's an old factory, and see if we could get people interested in understanding that there's other places in town where there's history to see, without terrifying them into thinking, oh my God, they're going to make another historic district and I won't be able to do whatever I want with my house, which often happens. But I liked the idea of, you know, as I've been listening already, I was thinking, all right, I need to find the right person or persons to lead the tour from the museum. It's not me, because I have this association with the historic district, which is pretty benign at the moment and mostly happy. But I still think, you know, we need someone from that section of town. But I just like the idea of getting people to walk around for a bit, and as I'm listening to you, also not a long walk, but maybe then also a place to have a conversation at the end of it, maybe, or maybe to follow up. I don't know, will people do that to follow up with it on another day if you're interested in talking about this more or something? So
yeah, anything like that, or a place to end your walk, like at a cafe or a coffee shop, or where people can, you know, hang out a little longer and get to know each other. Yeah, the point is to have fun and make this a fun activity. And I also want to remind everyone that to try to remember to assign someone to be taking photos and maybe capturing some of the fun that's happening, and so you can continue to share the event after it's happened, or even while it's happening if you're that sophisticated. But yeah, the point is to just really celebrate your community and something special in your community and get others excited about it as well. Okay. Oh, go ahead, Barbara.
Oh, okay. I'm Barbara Lamb, and I'm representing both the New Haven Preservation Trust and the Historic Worcester Square Association today. And I'm not sure yet what I want to do, but I do want to do something around Worcester Square. I've been doing some research the last couple of years about Worcester Square and how it evolved over the last 2 centuries since it was first created. And I'm wondering, you mentioned that you were going to have images and other whatever we supply on the website, on your website, to promote the various walks. And I'm wondering if that is going to be accessible during the walks, if there's a way to somehow tie in with that. Because as I walk around, again, I'm still trying to formulate this in my mind and what it's going to be. And if I walk around and talk and engage people about what Worcester Square used to be, when most people think of Worcester Square now, they think of pizza and Italians, you know, and the history includes so much more. And that's one of the things that we're interested in exploring at the Historic Worcester Square Association. And how do we better promote the long history of Worcester Square, that we're not just about pizza. So I'm just wondering if there is a way to also somehow include images, or whether I need to have images as we walk around, and I talk to people about some of the past that isn't there anymore.
Probably a little bit of both. If you have images with you that you can share on the fly. But our pin dot on the map had a section where you could include some images, or we could link back to your website if you had something in your website that had images set up for the walk. You just coordinate with us that you want people to be able to be directed somewhere to see specific things.
Okay.
Hello, this is Lauren Copley Vincent from Bridgeport Downtown Special Services District. I just wanted to offer to Barbara what we had done in the past. We've done a Jane's Walk for about 7 years now, in different shapes and sizes, and Zoom and not Zoom and all that. But one of the things that we did, because downtown Bridgeport has looked different certainly over the years, was we did a video. And we got a grant from Connecticut Humanities to film a short video talking about historically the place. And then we showed the video, and then we did a walk of the neighborhood. So people had the reference point of what used to be and now what is and all that. But we also handed out, and if that's ambitious, we also handed out, excuse me, postcards that had a map of the route and some of the key locations with a QR code or a link to our website that people could see the previous, sort of the historical perspective, more photos and things like that. So I don't know if you're connected with your city local government print shop, but they're usually very affordable. More so than not that I want to take a job from a commercial printer, but like you can print those cards very cost effectively.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Lauren. You have a lot of experience in this. We should have you running these meetings. Are there any?
Well, I'll say we've tried a lot. I mean, still we'd love to get more and more turnout. So I'm love to hear from folks that have had a successful sort of large crowd. It's always been like 15 to 30 people at most, and we'd love to get even twice that, so if anyone has.
Yeah, but that seems like a manageable group to walk around with. Lucy, go ahead.
Yeah, just to raise my hand, Lauren, I worked with Chris and Preservation Connecticut, Chris Wiegman, on the Olmsted study, and I just threw out the idea that there could be a great walk that starts at Seaside Park, and maybe you've done that already, but I'd love to take it to Black Rock and connect Olmsted Senior and what happened at Seaside with P.T. Barnum and Bridgeport. And then I think it's walkable, but it's a little bit of a walk. It'd be a hearty walk to Black Rock to look at what go to Seaside Village and talk about Junior's involvement in World War I and that whole sort of planning that came out of it that's reflected in Seaside Park and Black Rock Gardens. Now, I don't live in Connecticut right now. My sister was in Black Rock Gardens and I have some contacts there, but I would be willing to work on something like that with you if that would be of interest. I just threw it out there as a possibility.
Excuse me, that's a great idea. I actually live in Black Rock, not in Black Rock Gardens, but in the neighborhood now. That'd be great.
Yeah, because I think that is such an interesting area that's full of these resources, and I think that would be a wonderful walk. And there'd be lots of places to end up in Black Rock for coffee or so. Okay.
Yes. Thank you. I'll send you my contact info.
Okay, great.
Perfect. Did anyone else want to throw out an idea that they're noodling on and chat about potential walk in your community? Oh, go ahead, Rocky Hill.
I'm Ed. So yeah, it says Rocky Hill Historical Society. Ed Ciccarello. I'm
Hi,
the
Ed.
current president. We did a walk last year. We just put up historic point of interest signs around our what we're calling our old town center. It's a triangle right in our downtown. So we did a walk then, and so that's what I'm considering repeating. You know, these historic signs were placed in front of the Academy Hall of 1803 and the Rocky Hill Congregational Church of 1808 and our Fire Museum, Methodist Church, and we even have a 9/11 memorial. So there's five. I think there's five, and our library, six. There's six signs altogether, and people really enjoyed it. It was a very low work type of thing. There's not a lot of work to do other than this little bit of publicity. But I like the idea that Lauren mentioned of having a video or a slideshow of historic photos. We have those certainly. We did a video on our if you go to our website, you can see a video actually of that tour that we did. But I do like that idea. The other thing I would say is somebody suggested just recently at our museum to do only I would call it a digital tour. Some people don't have the mobility to walk, right? And so they said to us, we do center cemetery tours. We do those every year. And the ground, is you got to walk over grass. And there's some people that just don't have that ability anymore. So they said, well, why don't we do a tour, but they could sit in Academy Hall and just see it. And so we're going to be working on something like that probably this year. So I have not, I haven't written anything to you yet, just, but I'll talk to our executive committee. More than likely, I'll lead it, or we'll have our town historian be lead it. But that's what I was thinking of doing.
Yeah, well, that's really interesting.
Thanks.
Oh, and Chris just put in the chat a virtual tour,
Right.
a COVID tour. So is there anything that you need from Preservation Connecticut as you're working on these ideas, or how can we assist you with putting something together?
I think just having Samantha or someone there as a resource when we have questions or need more information about a direction to go, and I think that's very helpful.
Yeah,
And knowing that you're going to spearhead a lot of the promotion is also extremely helpful, because that's always one of the hardest things, is getting the word out.
Yeah, that's what we thought. Well, the best thing that we could bring to this is helping with all the promotion. All the great ideas and walks are coming from you all. But we can certainly be the ones to really try to make sure everyone's getting the word out, and that we're getting the word out, and it's got the publicity that it needs to be successful.
Oh, the other thing, I think it's helpful hearing what what other people on this Zoom meeting are thinking about. And I don't know if there's a way to have an ongoing chat about things as people's ideas evolve, because I've thought of a number of things, but then I'm not sure. Then I go off in another direction, I'm used to giving tours, but as Chris said in the last Zoom meeting, we often give tours, but just informative lecture type tours. And it's harder to, I think, engage the people you're touring, to get them to provide their insights, their feedback, their ideas, their history with a specific space. So, so coming up with ways to do that can be challenging for some of us.
Right.
So So it's just nice to hear what other people have done or successfully or are thinking about trying.
Yep. Did anyone want to share what they're working on with the group? As they come in and are more formalized, we'll be able to be posting them on that map.
Okay.
So
I'm happy to share. We just have a basic framework that we are filling in the details, certainly, but we start with the plan is to start with a walk of the neighborhood. We'll leave from the Downtown Special Services District office, and we recently completed a series of murals in the neighborhood, so it'll really focus on visiting all of those spots and facilitating conversation around the impact of public art on how people feel and experience in the neighborhood. And then we'll end, I'm sure many of the people on the call are familiar with the Mary and Eliza Freeman Center for Community and History that is actively working toward preserving a series of homes in a neighborhood called Little Liberia. That was a prominent African-American community in the mid 19th century. Up through the 20th century. And but they have a space in our neighborhood where they showcase their efforts and talk about what they're doing toward preserving the home. So we'll end there and have a panel conversation with people. This year we're trying a new thing and focusing on people who are still with us, active sort of Jane Jacobs locally in the neighborhood, to talk about the work that they're doing and how they're inspired by the principles that she embodied. And then we're going to go to the brew pub next door, have a little social element after walking and talking and, and that. So that's our simple plan.
that's great. Well, that sounds
Okay.
very thought through. Yeah.
Lauren, one of the things I'm really unaware of, Jane, I don't know who Jane is. A friend of mine said she has a book that was written about her, but maybe you can explain a little bit more of what you were talking about in regards to Jane and her philosophy.
Jane Jacobs, I'm sure Jane Montanaro can say more about that, about her, why Jane's Walks exists and all that, but if you would
sure.
like to. Yeah.
She is a well-known in the preservation circles as an author and community activist, a community planner who really thought that the work of planning for the cities that we live in should be done by the community and with individual input. So that's why the inspiration for the walks are all about getting people to talk about their neighborhoods and their communities and what they feel about them and what they want to see there and what's, what inspires them about the places that they live in. Her famous publication is The Death and Life of American Cities. And we're thinking at some point we may do a program specifically on Jane Jacobs to sort of kick us off. We're noodling around to see if we can find a Jane Jacobs expert to do a little program for us.
There's a great Wikipedia page about Jane Jacobs too. You should check that out. Gives a good overview of her and her various books and her life and her work.
I just put in the chat a link to it's one of the Jane's Walk websites, but it's like her 10 big ideas. It's like a 1-pager PDF that actually we'll put up on our website too.
Yep, in our first meeting, we emphasize that you don't have to know a lot about Jane Jacobs, just know that it's all about engaging the community. And I can't take credit for having Jane's Walk named after me. The other Jane. Well, it's really exciting to see some of the ideas that are starting to be formulated for this. One of the last numbers that we saw about how many Jane's Walks happen globally was 500, and I think that's extremely low. I think there's so many happening that we don't know about. And hopefully doing this little bit of coordination through Preservation Connecticut, we'll really be able to see how much is going on in Connecticut with these walks. It'll be exciting to see everybody taking off on May 4th to do their programs.
Hi, I'd like to add something.
Sure, go
I'm
ahead,
Christy
Christy.
Fountain in a part of Stamford called Glenbrook.
Mhm.
And it sounds odd, but the claim to fame in Glenbrook was Phillips Milk of Magnesia. And the factory still exists. And the walk I'd like to do is about the influence of the Phillips family in Glenbrook, because it's everywhere. Stone walls, houses that they built for their employees, the Tiffany window that Mrs. Phillips donated to the church. When people move here, they're curious about these things, but there's nowhere really to get the information. People are still alive who have connections to the Phillipses. I recently met a woman whose relatives were domestic servants for the Phillipses. I have a neighbor who married into the family that bought the Phillips mansion, now demolished. So this is just great. I found out about this last Thursday. I haven't known whether to ask the State Historic Preservation Office or the Humanities Department who would be interested in this. And then suddenly Preservation Connecticut fell out of the sky. I'm so grateful. Are you part of the Humanities Office? Or
No, we're separate.
Sep-
We work with them quite often. We're a separate private nonprofit organization. Preservation Connecticut was established as the Connecticut Trust for Historic Preservation through a state statute. So we are statutory partners with the State Historic Preservation Office, but we're an independent nonprofit.
Good. I don't know how I would have found you, but I'm glad you're there. And I already have some good ideas about the video, about a digital map. So this has been helpful.
Yes, great,
Thank you.
terrific. Thanks, Christy.
Mhm.
I know I love all these sophisticated ideas that are coming back with all the technology that we can take advantage of. Well, we were thinking, since all the walks are due to us by March 15th, we'll put out office hours on March 1st. If you want to just drop in and have a casual conversation about what you're thinking about for your walk, if you have any last minute questions, or you want to run an idea by us, or chat with a few people about an idea, that'll just be an informal Zoom call on March 1st. But you can reach out to Kristen Hopewood anytime with questions about your walks or ideas or suggestions about what we could be doing to help. And her email was khopewood@preservationct.org.
And we're recording this session, and I will also download the chat. So any of those links will be available. We can send out the recording and the chat text too. Right, Kristen? We'll do that.
Yes. Well, great. Thanks for joining us today. Thanks for being inspired about doing a walk, and keep in touch with us as you're developing your ideas. And we look forward to working towards May 4th.
Okay.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.